GEE142 Curves and Earthworks Module 7 Vertical Curves Part 1. So for this lesson, we will be discussing what is a vertical curves and its applications by solving some problems. So by the end of this module, you should be able to understand what is or what are the vertical curves and solve vertical curves problems. So by definition, vertical curves are those viewed in vertical plane. So it provides gradual change of grade, thus giving motorists a smooth ride while traversing the roadway. So vertical curves, as its name suggests, so it is on a vertical plane. So if this is the cross-section of the road, so mga ganito na curve ng daan. So this is a cross-section. So the difference with the horizontal curve is you are viewing from the top. So yung mga like this, yung mga pag-curve ng daan sa plane ng surface ng Earth. But this time, vertical curves are curves that is viewed in a vertical plane. So that is a gradual change of grade or yung slope ng road. So there are two general forms of a vertical curve. First is convex or summit curve. That is yung pataas na curve here, this part, and yung concave or sag curve. So dito na part. So i-discuss natin yung convex and yung concave na curves. So one of the requirement of a vertical curve is that the rate of change of grade is constant. So if constant yung change of grade, so magiging smooth yung pagdaan ng mga vehicle or yung mga motorist. So just like yung spiral curve natin, so it gives a constant rate of change in the acceleration. So of all the geometric shapes, parabola perfectly fits this requirement. So those curve are parabola. So yung summit curve and yung concave curve. So this is a second degree curve, that is yung parabola. So there are two types of parabolic curves. So vertical curves can also be termed as parabolic curves since it is a parabola. So first is a symmetrical parabolic curve and unsymmetrical parabolic curve. So we will start with symmetrical parabolic curve or parabolic vertical curve. So a summit curve is formed if a positive backward tangent, so just like yung horizontal curve natin, meron ding backward tangent and negative or yung forward tangent. So these tangents is formed at a common point called vertex. So if this is a horizontal curve, this is the point of intersection. So vertical curve, it is called vertex. So a vertical curve is asymmetrical. So symmetrical siya if the horizontal length is equal at both sides of the vertex. So since the curve is parabolic, its geometric property should conform to that of a parabola. So this is the example of the summit curve or vertical curve that is symmetrical. So that means the vertex is located at the midpoint of the curve. So that is L over 2 and L over 2. So this time, the considered length of the curve is the horizontal length of the curve. So this length, so this is L. Okay. Okay, so this is the vertex, this is the backward tangent, this line, this is the backward tangent, and this is the forward tangent. So since backward tangent on a summit curve is um, upward siya, so positive yung grade ng slope. Then yung forward tangent naman is pababa, so yung grade ng slope is negative. So this is H, so this is Z, where PVC here is what you call point of vertical commencement or curvature. So dito nag-start yung vertical curve natin, and then V is the vertex or point of intersection of the tangents, and then PVT is the point of vertical tangency. So from the figure, we will consider triangle formed by points V, Q, and PVT. So this triangle. So by trigonometric equations, you can find this vertical distance by multiplying the distance here adjacent to the inclination or the grade or the slope of the curve. So we can say that this distance here is equal to, so this is tangent, so L over 2 multiplied by the grade 1 or yung slope ng first na, yung positive, yung pa-uphill. Then yung pa-downhill naman, this side is also L over 2 multiplied by negative G2. So grades can either be positive or uphill. So this is uphill, so that is positive, or negative, which is downhill. So if we consider the sign of G1 and G2, so the value of Z will be, so we'll add, so Z is equals to L over 2 G1 plus L over 2 negative G2. So if factor out natin yung L over 2, so Z will be L over 2 multiplied by G1 minus G2. So this is the equation for the Z or yung vertical distance. So for the following derivation, let us consider the sign of the grade. So uphill positive, downhill negative. So from this figure, H is the vertical offset of the curve below the vertex. So by geometry, we can say that this H here is also this distance here, also this one and this one. So in the figure, lines Q prime Q is parallel to lines PVC PVT. So we can say that for H, so this H, so merong 4H is equal to Z. So since it is parallel, so this line, and this line are all equal. So substituting the value of Z, we will get 4H is equals to L over 2 G1 minus G2. So the vertical offset or H is equals to L over 8 multiplied by G1 minus G2. Okay, so that is the value of our vertical offset. So this is the H, that is from vertex to the intersection ng vertex vertically doon sa curve natin. So that is H. So if we consider an arbitrary point A at X horizontal distance from PVC, so this A located X distance horizontally from PVC and have a vertical offset Y, since the curve is parabolic, So the following relation shall be true. So in a parabola, the equation of a parabola is y equals x squared. So if this is a parabola, this is y equals x squared. So the one of the properties of parabola is that x squared over y is must be equal to L over 2. So any horizontal distance squared over vertical distance. So that is at distance L over 2, the vertical offset is h. So this equation must be true. Okay, so since this is a summit curve, a point with the highest elevation or the summit should exist. So there is a point where it is the highest point on the curve. So to locate this point, we will simply set the grade at the highest point equals to 0. So ibig sabihin nun, yung grade at that point is 0. So let S be the location of the summit from PVC. So this S. So at this point, the grade here is 0. So assuming that S is less than L over 2, so notice that a smaller curve is formed between PVC and the summit with V as its intersection of the tangent. So, ito yung new, considering only this curve, so ito yung magiging vertex natin. So, considering this curve, so from the equation, so this tangent here has a 0 grade. So, totally horizontal siya. So, this is still G1. So, from the first equation, Z is equals to L over 2. So, G1 minus G2. So, we will also find what is Z prime. So, Z prime is equals to S over 2. So, our L here is the S multiplied by G1 minus, since G2 is 0. So, Z prime here is equals to S multiplied by G1 over 2. Okay, so from the parabolic property, x squared over y is equals to L over 2 squared over h. So we can also say that s squared over z prime is equals to L over 2 squared over the h. So substituting equation b and d, so we will get s squared is equals to sg1 over 2 is equals to L over 2 squared over L8 G1 minus G2. So this Z prime here, then yung value ng H. So then the equation will be S. So magiging isa na lang yung S dito. So S over G1 over G2 is equals to L over L squared over 4 over L over 8 G1 minus G2. So if we simplify this equation, The location of the highest point of the curve from PVC is given by S is equals to G1 multiplied by the length of the curve, horizontal length of the curve, over G1 minus G2. So this is the horizontal distance from PVC where the summit or the highest point of the curve is located. Okay, so let's solve some vertical curve problem. So number one, a symmetrical parabolic curve passes through a point A whose elevation is 23.23 meter at a distance 54 meter from the PVC. So the elevation of PVC is at station 4 plus 100 is 22.56 meters, and the grade of the back tangent is plus 2 degrees, and the length of the curve is 120 meters. So from this clue here, the grade of the back tangent is 2 degrees. So back tangent is also the forward tangent. So this is a summit curve. So since yung first na tangent natin is positive, so this is a summit curve. So first is compute the grade of the forward tangent. So yung isang tangent, yung pababa, since this is a summit. And then compute the stationing of the highest point of the curve and also the elevation of the highest point of the curve. So if we draw the figure of this problem, the curve would look like this. So this is PVC at elevation 22.56 meters and located at station 4 plus 100. And then this is PVT, so at station 220. So this means the length of the curve is 120 meters. So since this is a symmetrical parabolic curve, so the vertex is located at L over 2 and L over 2. So you have a point A here located at elevation 23.23. So maybe a 1 meter higher than PVC, and located at a horizontal distance 54 meters. So this is less than L over 2. So for forward back tangent na 2 degrees and unknown na forward tangent. Okay, so first is we will solve the vertical offset at the midpoint of the curve, which is yung h natin, this h. So h is equals to L over 8 multiplied by G1 minus G2. So L is 120 over 8, G1 is 2% minus G2. Okay, so by square property, the parabola, by square property of parabola, so x squared over y is equals to L over 2 squared over h. So x is 54 squared over y, which is equals to L over 2 is 60 squared h. So y is equals to 54 squared over 60 squared h. So substituting the value of h here, so we will have y is equals to 54 squared over 60 squared multiplied by 120 over 8 times 2%, or 2% is 0.02 minus, but we will use it in percent form para hindi masyadong mahaba. So G2. Isolating the curve PVC to A, so this curve, so the elevation of PVC, which is 22.23 56 plus the 2% of 54, or the vertical distance, says in this part, this is the z, considering only this curve, minus y would be the elevation of A, which is 23.23. So if we substitute the value of y from the previous slide, our equation will be 22.56 plus 2% of 54 minus, so y is 54 squared over 60 squared multiplied by 120 over 8, 2% minus G2 is equals to 23.23. So if we simplify this equation, the only unknown is yung G2. So G2 will be negative 1.3745%. So technically, since G2 is a forward tangent, so in a summit curve, the forward tangent is always negative. So this is the value of G2. So that is for problem 1, or sub-problem 1. So now we will locate the stationing of the point of the highest curve. So first is we will find yung as natin. So what is the location, horizontal distance nung highest point from PVC. So yung formula is G1 multiplied by L over G1 minus G2. So S is equals to, this is 0.02 multiplied by 120 over 0.02 minus negative 1.3745%. So this is 0.013745. So S is equals to 71.12 meters from PVC. So this means that the station of the summit is equals to the station of PVC plus yung S natin. So this is 4 plus 100 plus 0 plus 071.12. So the stationing of the summit is equals to 4 plus 171.12. So this is the stationing of the summit, yung horizontal distance niya from PVC. So this is for sub-problem number 2. Okay, so now we'll find the this is sub-problem number 3, the elevation of the summit. So 71.12 is greater than L over 2. So it is located somewhere here. So lagpas na siya dun sa middle. So we'll find its elevation. So station here is 4 plus 171.12. So first we will find yung H natin. So H is equals to L over 8 multiplied by G1 minus G2. So H is equals to 120 over 8 G1 minus G2, or 2% minus negative 1.3745%. 0.45%. So this will be H will be 0.5062 meters. Yan yung H natin. So kailangan natin siya sa pag-solve nung elevation nung summit. So by the parabolic equation, s squared over y, ys, so this y here, is equals to L over 2 squared over H. So S is 71.12 squared over YS. So hanapin natin yung YS. Over, equals 60 squared over 0.5062 meters. So YS is equals to 0.711 meters. So that is yung YS natin. So now the elevation of the highest point of the curve, elevation of the summit or the highest point of the curve is, so same nung pag-derive natin ng equation kanina. So the elevation of PVC plus yung vertical distance, say Z prime, minus YS. So this is equals to 22.56 plus 2% of the S or 71.12 minus YS is equals to 0.711. So the elevation of the summit is equals to 23.271 meters. Okay, so yan yung elevation of the summit natin. So that is for sub-problem number 3. Second problem. So a descending grade of 4.2% intersects an ascending grade of 3% at station 12 plus 325 at elevation 14.12 meters. So these two grades are to be connected by a 260-meter vertical parabolic curve. So a reinforced concrete culvert pipe with overall diameter of 105 cm is to be constructed with its top 30 meter below the subgrade, and what will be the invert elevation of the culvert. So the first grade stated here is descending. So it means yung first curve natin is pababa, yung backward tangent is pababa, then yung forward tangent is ascending or uphill. So this will be a sag curve na example. So this is the PVC. So if this is the curve of the road, so meron tayong culvert located at point P, which is the lowest point of the curve. So on a sag curve, it is termed as the lowest point. Then kung sa summit curve naman is highest point. So the culvert is located at the lowest point of the curve. So situated such that the top of the culvert is located 30 cm below the subgrade. Okay, so meron siyang 30 cm na distance before yung culvert natin. So G1 is negative 4.2% and G2 is positive 3%. And then stationing of vertex is 12 plus 325. So this is here. So intersects at station 12 plus 325. So yan yung clue na vertex yun. So at elevation 4.2 meters. Okay, now first we will solve the vertical offset H. So this distance, so H is equals to L over 8 G1 minus G2. So this is 260. So L is 260. So it is still a symmetrical parabolic curve. So 260 over 8. G1 is negative 0.042 minus 0.03. So this will give us negative 2.34 meters. So this negative here indicates that nasa baba yung h natin, or descending or sag curve siya. So or this will be 2.34 meters. So yung value lang nung h, so positive yung value ng h. So yung negative lang is indication na sa baba siya. So hindi siya sa taas, katulad nung summit curve. Okay, so this is our h, 2.34 meters. So now we will find the location of the curve, or highest point of the curve or lowest point of the curve, or yung s natin. So s is greater than L over 2 here. So s is equals to G1 times L over G1 minus G2. So this is equals to negative 0.042 times 260 over negative 0.042 minus 0.03. So S, or the location of the lowest point of the curve, is equals to 151.67 meters from PVC horizontally. Okay, so now meron na tayong H, meron na din tayong S. So we can now use the so this is distance here from P to the forward tangent is YS. So we can now use the parabolic equation. S squared over YS is equals to L over 2 squared over H. So YS here is equals to 151.67, which is yung H, yung S squared multiplied by H, 2.34 over 130 squared. So YS is equals to 3.19 meters. So just like nung equation kanina, so elevation of P is equals to the elevation of PVC plus the distance here. So the vertical distance here, so say this is our Z prime. So in this case, since sag curve siya, so magiging minus yung ano natin. So since this is the elevation of PVC, so minus tayo ng Z prime minus Z prime, then plus na naman yung YS. So yung sa summit curve, plus yung Z prime minus yung YS. So we will first find what is the elevation of PVC. So elevation of PVC is equals to, so this we'll start at this elevation, so 14.2 meters plus the vertical curve na distance. So at L over 2, so 4%, 4.2% of 130 So elevation of PVC is equals to 14.2 19.66 meters. So that is the elevation of PVC. So 19.66 minus 3% of S, or yung 151 point. Okay, so maling orientation natin. So YS is located at this example below the curve pala. So this is YS and this is our Z prime. So we will still use the grade of the backward tangent, which is 4.2% multiplied by S, or 151.67 plus YS, which is 3.19 meters. So elevation of PVC minus Z and then plus YS. So that is the elevation ng P natin. So, or the lowest point of the curve. So elevation of P is equals to 16.48 meters. So yan yung elevation ng P natin. So but yung hinahanap natin dito is ano yung invert elevation ng culvert. So if this is the lowest point of the curve, so ito, and yung culvert natin is located here. So from the lowest point to the surface of the culvert, meron tayong 0.30 meters, and then yung culvert itself is 1.05 meters. So what is the elevation at this point? So this is elevation of invert. So we know this point, so this is 16.48. so the elevation invert is equals to 16.48 minus 0.30 minus 1.05. so the elevation invert is equals to 15.13 meters. So yan yung elevation invert, or yung bottom ng culvert. So that's end our module 7 part 1. So since mahaba yung discussion, so part 2 is another module yung part 2, which is yung unsymmetrical parabolic curve. So thank you for listening and have a good